Peace. Welcome back. I am Jay Wando, host of the Dope Spot. Dope Spot is a place where we discuss our experiences and aim to deliver messages of empowerment. We speak a universal language of love, gratitude, and peace. And today I have my guest with me, one of my friends, known him going on 7 years of friendship. And not the type of friendship where you just kind of hit somebody up and we consider ourselves friends, but like we really get in the trenches and have real good conversations with each other. So without further ado, I want to welcome my homie, my brother, Larry Moffatt, owner of, you know what, I'm going to let him discuss it and introduce himself. But Larry Moffatt, man, welcome to the show, brother.
Yo, man, what's up, man? Well, I appreciate you, Jay Wando, for having me on your platform. Um, it's an honor, truly blessed to have you call you as a friend, and so we can have these deep conversations, or just some light
It
conversations. To
can be
be honest,
surface.
sometimes,
Yes, sir.
yeah, just all that in between. So, yeah, it's been an honor, man.
No doubt. And if a little background, Larry and I met in Okinawa, Japan. Yes, we met overseas. I was over there serving as a civilian, as and he's a military personnel, U.S. Air Force, and my wife's Air Force as well. Me and Larry met on the court, we met in the gym, met hooping, and that's just something that I've grown so many relationships on the court. And I think outside of the club is cool, but you don't really get to have those personality clashes, or you get to see that person's character when they're upset or they're up up 20. You can just see the change in people, and also you get to talk to them. You start realizing, wow, like you got a family too. Oh, you like this type of music as well. You like these type of shoes. Like all that kind of plays into it. And I look at it kind of like the men's sanctuary outside of a barbershop. So yeah, man, we hoop, and Larry just been someone that I watched grow. I say he's a couple years younger than me, but just not just because of that, but watching him grow in his career and me looking at it from a person on the outside as a veteran, saying, "Wow, that's the path to follow." So, just being an example, Larry, keep it up, keep going the way you're going. And I know this is early in the intro part of it, but um, I wanted to had a little, not a script, but just kind of like some guidance. So well, like I said earlier, Larry being the Air Force guy, Larry also has a business. Also, and could you just speak on the travel business that you have? Also, the accounts that are associated with it, reasons to invest with you. Why should people be involved or want to get to know who you are? And talk about some of the outcomes, something you want out of the business that you started, and you could just rock with that.
Yes, sir. So it's funny how I got started. I think just like everything in life, it's just about timing. And so what I found myself is like during that period of time, it was April time frame of like 2022.
Okay.
And I was like, no, sorry, 23. And I was like, yeah, man, I'm trying to figure out different businesses, different ideas, to try to how to make some money on the side and things like that. Um, but the one thing is that the job that I have, I at times I'm on the alert status, so I'm on call for around about 6 months out of the year. Get That's just in totality, but so my limb fact is that like I didn't want to do something and then like I will have to uh go into work, because I could just get a call at 2 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the PM, any given time that I will have to come into work. So
Mhm.
that was one factor for me. And so at the time, I was looking at, a vacation. And I was like, hey man, I talked to my wife. I was like, hey, I want to go on a cruise. We was talking about let's go on a cruise. And I had a friend that I used to see posted on Facebook. It was like, oh yeah, I got travel, travel agency and things of that nature. And so, for me, I love to like if I know someone that has a business, like I much rather shop with them. Because I know that there's tons of these, bigger organization, multi-million dollar companies that don't really care about, my money specifically. But if I know that somebody that I know, and I could put some money in their pocket, I would much rather do that. Right. So if it's clothing or whatever, right? So I reached out to him and I said, I was like, hey, I want to shop with you, with getting going on a cruise. And so he just honestly said, hey, there's two ways we could do it. I could send you my website and you could book it on there, or I could show you how to make money from booking it yourself. And I was like, hmm,
Yeah.
okay, tell me more. And so, he introduced me some information, and then from there, I was like, "Oh, this is easy money. This is easy money." So he showed me. First thing, once I got started, I booked my own cruise, and I immediately made my money back from it. And then from it, so it's just been on and continuous from there. So I know I didn't formally really introduce what it is I do as a business. So I own and operate a travel agency. Also, I I show other people the opportunity or the benefit of owning their own travel agencies as well. So, some of the things that is super beneficial for having a travel business is one, you get to meet and connect with a lot of different people from all different phases of life, from different countries, that all are going for after the same goal. It's really isn't just solely about travel. It's about networking, helping other people, basically just putting money in their pocket, right? And it is the amount of opportunity and money that you could earn from uh, a network marketing business, and it's just sheerly just based off of relationships.
Mhm.
Um, and travel is just the icing on the cake. And so, when we look at it, I met some people from like all different walks of life from different countries, like I previously mentioned. We have conventions every year that we go, and I personally shook hands with millionaires, people that's been in my same shoes already, retired military, um, you know, principals, HR managers, doctors, like colonels, like all different types of people are doing the same thing. And what is cool about that is that, you see them in a whole different light. Hey, it's a thing like we like to say in the Air Force, it's like, hey, or in the military, it's like once we take this off, like who are we? And
Right.
I've got to see them in that light, and that it's super inspirational, man.
I love to hear that, and you seem to have articulate it well, and that's a display of experience, right? And that's what
Hmm.
we do on here. We discuss experiences, and now you have a quote unquote side business, side hustle, as many people love to say they have or be a part of, or and they actually do have them, but you don't necessarily need that. So, what do you say are some of your hurdles and also benefits outside of the money part? Because I feel like when you're part of a business, you want to have a love for it or desire for it at some point. So, like, when did that happen? When that switch happened, as far as the hurdles. But then I made my first one, and I looked around like, oh, that was $200. I talked to this amount of people, this amount of people this day, or oh, you came from what? What I'm saying. Like, as far as the type of people you mentioned, millionaires, you mentioned doctors and principals and people of stature. So how are you handling that? And then, like I said, what are the hurdles that you have to face or had to face to this point?
One of the things I like to think about is we all, when I mentioned about the other folks, we all started at the same space. We started off with zero. We didn't book anything. We didn't help any other people start their business. So that's one of the things that was, that I gravitated toward. It put me more at ease, right? And it was like, okay, hey, if these people have all of these things going on in life, I know for a fact that, hey, like I'm, Air Force Master Sergeant. I know I'm not busier than an '06 colonel in the army. I know that his day is way more jam-packed than mine. I'm gonna be real. Um, and so just to be able to use him for leverage of like, hey, how did you manage doing this while active duty? And he's like, oh, okay, this is how I did it, right? So using those people for leverage. So those are, some of the things that put me at ease and it helped me. But I'm gonna be real. I This is one of the first things that I've ever done in life that I wasn't somewhat good at first, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I get it.
it was a total mind shift change. Um, and it was like it was something that I really, really had to like do some soul searching and digging to change my mindset about it. And the reason why is because it's the nature of it is sales. And I, like many people, don't believe that, I'm a salesy person. But it's not necessarily, or what I had to realize is that it's not about sales. No one wants to buy any, or no one wants to be sold anything. They want to buy something.
Mm,
And so the whole thing is showing people to value the value of what you have and then letting them make a decision. So not forcing anybody, hey, take a look at this, do this, that. No, no, it's not about that. It's, hey, I have a thing. You should consider it. And if not, then okay, great. That's thanks for taking your time to look at it,
yeah,
right?
I'm not gonna pressure you.
Yeah, no pressure at all. And it's not to say that I was pressuring people, but I had to understand that because some people, like I'm gonna be honest, there's individuals
Please,
that I have
love
reached
honesty.
out to. Yeah. I have reached out to that may have um they have told, they open up to me about certain things like, hey, you know what, I'm going through this in life or whatever. And I was like, hey, well, I wasn't trying to push this on you, or I honestly didn't even think about this. But hey, this is something that could be useful for you. Here's
Right.
something that is flexible. You could do it, from
Yeah,
home.
you
You
presented
could
it to
do
me.
it.
So yeah,
Yeah, and yep, exactly. And I realized that sometimes, even though they maybe open up and be vulnerable to you, and it's still like a slippery slope to be real. But it's just a matter of just like, I think all in all, I realized that like because like I cared for people and then that I presented that to them, it was, and I didn't understand why they didn't see the benefits that they could do it.
true.
And because they were going through whatever that they're going through in life, that even if it was beneficial for them, whatever was better, not just what I'm selling, whatever is presented to them, they just might not be in the mindset to be able to listen or to absorb what is going on with that. And so that was a that was something that I really had to overcome myself of like, yeah, this is not as easy as what I thought it would be. But that's just me personally.
Right.
So yeah, that's definitely one of the hurdles that yeah I've came across in my upcoming of 2 years in business.
Wow, I didn't even feel like it's been that long. And I'll caveat to that. Even people might think, oh, you got a show, you got a. I look at it as a business, but more so as that's basically like product placement. Like I'm putting something on the shelf, podcasts, YouTube channels, whatever reels I have going on. I'm the product.
Hmm.
I'm selling conversation.
Hmm.
But what is social media usually? It's entertainment. I'm not here
Hmm.
to entertain. I'm not here to entertain. I'm not here to entertain you for real. Like I really just want to discuss things because I understand that even everything you said and mentioned, and like you basically made a sales pitch. You're telling people that I got here due to this in this amount of time, and these are things I went through as well. I'm not telling you that made my first sale, and I put up whatever kind of numbers. People like to sell it to you that way, or we think that just because what's gonna happen, and this is when this is where the Wando spirit comes in. But what's gonna happen is you're gonna become one of those people who will keep elevating, and somebody that you're gonna meet at your point, you're gonna be able to share exactly what you just went through, or they're gonna be able to go back and see this and say he was really going through what I'm going through right now at that
Hmm.
time. When I made this or created this show, it was for that very reason. So many people know me from something else. Maybe they had a conversation with me. Maybe they see me when I was partying. Maybe it was the military or whatever. Maybe they didn't know me at all, but they knew I was associated with someone else. So seeing me in this space could change people's perspective about me or for whatever reason. But I can't be so invested because I got to do this for the 5 years from now, guy. So I can go back later and be like, man, I was nervous. I didn't look comfortable. I didn't even do my first speaking engagement then, or I didn't even do my first whatever. I was still working on my degree at that time. You know what I'm saying? So I think we should just continue staying encouraged. So whenever we do have these moments, I don't know, people take pictures. I know people do recordings and make their what do you call it, audio footprint or digital footprint. But
Hmm.
it's good to have something like this, and it don't have to be just one show or one person. I follow hundreds of podcasts. I don't watch them all. I got friends and people I kick it with, chat with every day. This conversation could have been recorded years ago because of the conversations we had, but
Hmm.
it just wasn't the time. And I think now is great because before you could only talk about the build up. Now you get to speak on behalf of the you that actually went through it. And I feel that that's going to draw more people in because, to be real, who wants to really go see? Oh, my draw. Who really wants to go see a person that um, is on the practice squad? You know, somebody that's in the G League over somebody that's already kind of like maybe you're not. You maybe you're in the league and you might get some minutes. You know, just
Hmm.
using the basketball analogies. But most people want to go ahead and see the guy that's starting. Like even like parents, you want to support your kid, but your kid is the kid over there playing in the grass. You know what I'm saying? Who's your kid? Who's number so and so? Oh yeah, that's her over there with the number five. With and you're like, oh man, that's your kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as we're older and we got careers we've had, we got life going on. So I think that we can be so committed to looking back and looking around at what we haven't done yet or what numbers we haven't reached because there's someone out there a month from now, a year. Hey, after I upload this, somebody gonna see it and say, "Oh man, that's wow." I do remember Larry 2 years ago when he had 12 followers and nobody else was was rocking with him, and now he not only talking about it on this show, but he's amassed a certain amount of people, and at the time is coming, man. I just it's just a matter of time. So I think that that's where I'll kind of round that part up. Like it's just a matter of time. It's a matter of position you're in. We may not be everyone's thing at at that moment or everyone's cup of tea. You know, we just may not be it for the people that we already know, whatever it may be. And before I get too long winded, I wanted to ask like your expectations before you got started because obviously you started, obviously you went through the hurdles. But did you have like numbers? You don't have to speak on the numbers, but did you have certain numbers by certain date, things like that? And secondly, how are your family affected? With the time you spend because these are important things people need to know before they just go into it because it's going to be someone that already has support system and it's going to be someone that's like on it like me. I didn't really have a support system starting off, but I feel like I can feel it coming. I can feel the weekend. I can feel the audience starting to get me. You know what I mean? So yeah, if you don't mind sharing that, brother.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So I did come in with, like I said, I came in with expectations of like, hey, I'm not saying I'm the super like the most popular person on, on my Facebook and things like that, but there's certain posts and things like that, or I felt that I had a lot of connections with a lot of people that I thought, a business like network marketing would be come pretty easy to me. And so I did have some expectations. Um, and so when I had like my coaching session with my senior business partner, they kind of give me room to grow, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So they was like, hey, roundabout, this is what you should be doing, right? And then so they set me up with some resources, like, hey, here's a couple books, to get started, get to reading. And here's every Monday we do training on, X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
So they kind of just start plugging me into things of that nature, right? And so what I think a lot of people, including myself, but what I think a lot of people, this is a hurdle that a lot of people go through is when you have already a job, a very demanding job, with something like being in the military and things of that nature, that anything extra you're doing is essentially like a hobby. If you're not
Yeah.
going and clocking in to another place, then it's treated like as a hobby, right? And so if you're like, say, your significant other, your family is not necessarily on the same page as
Yeah.
that, it's going to be a lot more difficult because what you're going to do, or what you find yourself is like just finding little times to be able to, plug this into, oh, let me work my business on this day. Oh, I got an hour now. Let me go and kind of do all that. And what I found, and the advice that I got in from actually doing research myself, is that, you know, I essentially have an online business, but if I treat it like a brick and mortar, it means actually having store hours there where I dedicate time to work my business. Like, for example, on Mondays, all right, from 7 to 9, I work my business, whether that's posting on, social media, or I'm reaching out to people, or I'm, doing something with content, or whatever the case may be that I fill up my time, but it's my dedicated time for working my business,
Yeah.
and it actually lining out your schedule, and not necessarily, well, you have to do that for you, but you have to make sure that your family is good with that as well. You know, a lot of people got, they got a lot going on. So actually just making sure that everybody is on the
Yeah.
same page, that it's like, hey, no, like, in order for this to work, in order for this to work, I have to be able to dedicate some time to this. And one of the good things is that what I loved about, my particular business, because I can always hear the testimonies of people that went through the same thing that I went through. And you hear, it's like, especially couples. There's a lot of couples that's in this business, and they say, you know what? At first, my spouse was not on board with it. And then to be real, there wasn't, until these checks start rolling in. And then they
Ooh.
was like, oh, okay, like, all right, you okay, yeah, I can get on board with it. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of time, I don't want to say it takes that for that to happen, but you have to set some sort of boundaries in order for that to happen most of the time. Yeah, sometimes you can get lucky, and you can get some early success early, um in which I was blessed enough to get some of that, right? And I did a couple bookings for people. I was like, hey, I told people at work, like, hey, I had a travel agency, let me book your next vacation. And so I was just like, got a couple people from work, just easy, just like that. um and then just continue on with it, and then showing the opportunity. So I did have a bit of early success, and then I found myself being stagnant, where it's like, hey, I wasn't reaching the numbers that I projected for myself, or that I wasn't dedicating the time. I was kind of going through the motions, not
Yeah.
taking it
It was a
as
hobby.
serious. Yeah, taking it as a hobby, because, like, hey, I had a little bit of early success. I'm like, okay, made some money. Now I'm starting building residual income from it. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. But there's more that to be happening. And I'm like, I haven't even scratched the surface of what other opportunities that there are in this business. So um yeah, man. So I would say those as far as like starting off with my expectations, started off like that. But long term, and it's been the same. And sometimes I have to think about it again to reconfirm, is when I was looking for something to get started, like another business, um, one, I wanted to build more business credit because I have, my father passed away, and he left some land and some different type of real estate in Jamaica. And so what I wanted to do is be able to use, some of this to basically generate some more income so I could be able to, to use it down there. And so I'm fortunate enough that, like, you know, I make enough with my Air Force job, I should say, that I could still support and take care of my family. And so so my side business is extra. And so as I'm using it as a long term. I've been in for 14 years now in January. And
Congrats.
so my goal is to not do a day over 20, so I could retire and things like that. But the goal is to build it up, work a 6-year plan from here, and then hopefully I could reach, a point of like, hey, I'm making either the same amount that I'm making from in the military, which there's very much possibility that I could
Possible,
make
yeah,
that
for
much
sure.
from that, and really even more, to be honest, within a 6-year period. Um, and so at that point, then I could have, not necessarily that I'm looking to be a millionaire from it, but what I'm looking to do is to make
Why not?
enough money that I could
Why not?
have options. Yeah. I mean, and that's something that we discussed as well. It's like, hey, why not be a millionaire? Um, but I think it's like, for me, it was hard to like put a number to something, right?
Right.
All I know,
I
like,
get it.
hey, I see an idea of what, how much money looks like, as far as like being able to set yourself up for different options, that I could be able to walk away from something, that I don't really want to be in a position to do. I've been in the military since I've been, 19 years old, and being active duty, it really has a significant control on your life. And so while I love it and I still continue to serve, and I don't regret, not a day of it, because it gave me, plenty of opportunity. I met some great people like yourself. I met my spouse, all these things that just happened in life because, I started this journey. Um, but I know at the end of the day that I'm going to take this off, and I don't want to have no sort of restrictions on what that I want to do in life. And so I don't want money to be a factor with that as well. So if I could be able to make as much that I can, between now and then that's the goal. And so I could be able to, not necessarily just for me, but put my peoples in position, the people that's closer to me in positions that even though they may not deserve it, I would be
Right, man.
honest, some of them may not deserve it, but at least I have the opportunity to help them out, that I'm not taking away from. I don't have to dip in my savings, or I don't have to, take food out of my kid's mouth for me to help somebody. Have that opportunity. If my mom needs to come live with me, later in life for whatever
Yeah,
reason,
no, those days
that
are,
I
high possibility.
yeah, so there's a lot of those instances, that those things are happening. And I just want to be able to be in a position where I can afford to help. Because right now I'm good. I could take care of my family right now. But to be real, it's like, could I realistically take care of, like, the other people, whether they deserve it or not? But at least I have the ability, or I'm looking to have the ability to be able to help out.
Yeah, you said plenty, man. I appreciate you sharing that, brother. Um, I really want to highlight you as a person. Your character speaks of someone who is passionate about what they want. You have you speak about potential a lot. You spoke about being great or being good at other areas. So with that, I don't see a reason why you would you would be short of the next step as long as you continue on. Because unfortunately, in the military, even when it comes to rank, I know some people like try to burn through ranks, and you don't even realize you can make rank every 2 years up to a certain point, right? So once you hit that senior airman rank, the E4, you can be a staff that year. 2 years later, you get to test and make tech. 2 years later, you can test and make master, and then the board and whatever, however you get there. But some people aren't like this 2 year period you just went through is your training. Like you had the initial, but that's been your training. You how many bases you been to? What, five? Like you never really us being so they use the word at church transient. We're transient, so we're constantly on the move. So that's
Hmm.
amazing to have a job that moves you and have a business that you can not only move other people with, but you can move with it. It can move with you. So like most people don't have that type of flexibility. Yes, we can have the brick and mortar mindset, but that's not reality to us or for us. We need to make sure we have something like a podcast, so even the business type matters. You can't just jump into something thinking like I'm gonna start clothes or whatever, and I don't even have a stable apartment or house to live in. What happens when I have to move? And I got all my business going to this PO box in I don't know Macon, Georgia, or Hampton, Virginia, and then I got to move to Newport News or another place, and now I got to change all that stuff. All I had to do was take the same camera and set up and move it to wherever I want to go. I can take this phone, this camera, this computer, and continue to build on me. Continue to learn, continue to think about brevity and breath control, mic, and all these things I'm going to learn along the way. And so that's all I see in you, man. I see just greatness, not just in the travel agency, not just in the military, but just the fact that you want to help people. Most people don't have that mindset first. Even as you're selling the product, you're also selling you. The people that you saying you're going to help and want to help probably aren't trying to help you. They're just going to take. Well, be prepared for the flood in a good way. Be prepared for that moment where somebody sees either this video or that somebody on the other side of the screen be like, man, I don't know about, I had a good trip and good time and everything, but that's a good man. That's a good person. He take care of his family. So please, man, like man, I mentioned, stay encouraged. I know we have conversations anyway. I want to jump in a few times because I already know most of this stuff about you. And I'm thankful that you're able to share that. And I'm glad that you came onto the show. And not to cut it too short, but for sake of time and people's attention span, I'm just glad to have you on. And yeah, just wanted to say that, speak on your behalf, and also got a little format now, y'all. After the app closes, where are we? Are we overwhelmed? How many? So people really spend hours. People the term use the term put pain. People put pain into the social media stuff. You constantly looking like, man, I like that transition. That's a dope caption. How many hashtags people have? I think you can only put 30 hashtags. I just found that out today. So like but you gonna max out 30 hashtags. Podcast, black podcast with does it really matter? Probably not. Um, but after the app closes for you, is it like I need to? Because I do that. I'll close it. I'll even log out of the app, and then I go back to it. Like, man, I'm at Mr. Likers, and then I'm like, why am I so invested in this? Like, it doesn't even matter. It's not bringing me any money or really even joy. Because I might be thinking the time I just put into this post, like you mentioned earlier about, when you get out, you'll have more time to invest into the business. But I think by the time I put into it, that doesn't equate to anything for real. That's just the time I put into it. That's it. Like we really have to be okay with that. That our product is enough. That's it. That you should just move on. But how do you take that on as far as once the app closes, after the app closes, whichever app, Facebook, how you as a businessman, as a family man, how do you go throughout the rest of your evening or day?
Yeah, man, eh, I think that's a great question, actually. And definitely made me had to really think about it. Um, I think, I think for me, because we have access to information, right? Um, with our smartphones, with computers and everything, right? Um, So at times, what I realize is that, like, I get tons of people that will inbox me, hey, I'm thinking about a trip, and they want me to do something, right? So like either like if it's like me posting or something, or just more so people just really um wanted me to do an inquiry or something, like
Mm,
put together a quote for them. And I won't, like, soon as my inbox go off, I'm like, oh hey, Leah, let me message you back,
fine.
you know. And now I realize, like, no, like, one, like if I'm eating dinner, I put my phone up. Like no one has their phone like at our dinner table when we're eating dinner. Uh, so but there's also instances like that where it's like, like, um, I will respond back as in I want my business to be treated just like how if you hit up Expedia, or if you go to a certain service, or one of these big name companies, and they hit you back with an email and say that, hey, I will respond back in 24 hours or
24
so.
hours, 48 hours. Yeah,
Yes. I like to. Now, could that deter certain people? Probably. But honestly, like, like I said, I want my business to be treated like a big name business. And because it's me doing, like, I value my time as well. And um and if it's something, because I have life going on, I don't owe any explanation to anyone of why I, didn't respond back, the minute that you did, you sent a message. But yeah, hey, or if I did, I'm like, hey, you know what? I would love to help you out. And here's my availability and my calendar. I am available on, Tuesday afternoon from this times here. And if you
hmm
could just help me out, here's some information. And what I would do is I'll prompt them with a few information that, things that I will be looking for to help their search. And so at that point, when we have this time, I will be ready. And now we don't have to cut no quarters and things like that. So to answer your question, what happens when I log off? I try to log off. And if I have an idea about something, or if it's, I'm scrolling on, like, social media, and someone talked about travel or something like that, and I'll say, okay, hey, like, all right, maybe I'll write down in my, in my notes or so, or on my calendar. And I was like, okay, hey, like, all right, this is something that I need to take note of or whatever. But at the end of the day, that's just what it is. But once I'm done, I'm done, because I don't want to let everything else consume my life that I don't know who I am anymore.
sure. No, I love that. I love that answer, and I felt that was genuine. And this is a genuine conversation, brother. I appreciate you. I know I get a little because I'm so passionate about the people that for like we talked about before we made this a thing, like the time. We really actually care about each other's time. And me and Larry can go. We cutting this out now. We can talk. And I even had my wife who was like, hey, you get into some conversation, but I think it's just more so because we understand each other. We don't always agree. We don't have to. We just understand each other. You know what? We
Hmm.
can really say, I see what you're saying. I get what you mean. I don't agree with that. I feel this way. And I'm not like, oh, I don't want to talk to you no more because you don't agree with me. I'm like, I'm going to take that perspective on something. And, a week later or something, I can go back and say, you know what? I really get what you're saying now. That I focused in on it. Um, like you just said in the before you started, I haven't thought about it like that, and that's what we should continue doing, like building each other up. Um, we have a group on IG that we working toward building, which promotes other people. So this is perfect for that. I pray when you do hear this, whoever hears this, it's January of 2025, man, and I don't know what my numbers or my audience is going to look like next week, next year, but we both active, y'all. Like we out here, we on these different platforms, and expect us to continue building. If you want to come on the show, if you want to get invited or use Larry's services, please feel welcome. And if it's not for you, you know, we would love for you to pass it on. I'm not a like, share, subscribe type of person. I really I don't need that's too much pressure for me. You know, ask the guy that hosts the podcast. I just put it out there. It's the product. If you rock with us, cool. If not, somebody is. We'll just say that somebody's out there gonna rock with you. It's somebody, like people like to say, it's that kid, is that person in the basement, in his mama basement. You know what I'm saying? But that's the person that's probably gonna give you the most attention. You're gonna see him like, man, this dude, this person's liking all my stuff. You know, they really rocking with me. So let's focus on them. That's the whole point of that. Just focus on getting the information out there for whatever it's supposed to be. Be passionate about it, because people are gonna see if you lacking passion. If you treating it like a hobby, they're gonna treat you like a hobby. You know, they're gonna treat you as if like, oh, you ain't trying to sell me nothing. You're not trying to push this product. You don't really want to do this. But that's just something I've noticed as the consumer. So yeah, man, I appreciate it. And if you want to leave any information, please do. Feel free. You know, the dope spot, you can always come back, man. I would love to have you back on, and also to speak about you know, your roots a little bit. Kind of go backwards and then how that started, because I feel like that has a lot to do with the business acumen. You know, your father, who is a business owner himself. I'm sure that had so much to do with where you are now, and keeping that legacy going.
Most definitely, most definitely. And you know, just for the sake, I don't know what we was talking about for the sake of time. So if you
Mm.
would like to reach out to me, I'm on Facebook, Larry Moffatt. So it's Moffatt. And then also I'm on Instagram. It's at Lost Boy Larry. I like, you know, I just said that,
Oh,
switched it
boy.
up there, you know. Yeah. Yeah, that's on IG. And also, my wife and I share a travel vlogger page. So it's just the name is at travel.foodie.ventures. And so we just post our family adventures and vlogs and reviews and things like that. So we're just using our travel business as an advantage of going to different places and showing other people what it's about. And I realized that I didn't actually mention like the benefits of, you know,
Mm.
our travel business as well. So if you think about it, I just very simplistic. If you want to make some extra money, or if you enjoy traveling, or know other people that travel at discounted rates, I'm telling you, at least 99% better at what you can find on any consumer website. Reach out to me and I will gladly show you what we're working with. And I just leave it at that.
Just simple. We're not trying to run up on you with the passing out seed mixtapes and putting it on your car.
Yeah, at Moffatt Family Travel. Jesus Christ, I can't even say my own thing. Uh Moffatt Family Travel on IG, foodie dot ventures. Yeah.
That's it, man. And you heard it here, man. Larry Moffatt, Jay Wando, the dope spot. Just feel free to enjoy the show. You know, feel free to not enjoy the show. You know, I think that, you know, we shouldn't put pressure on each other. You know, it's all love. It's all part of just content. It's all part of getting things out, and that's what we did today. So mission accomplished. Salute to you, brother. I appreciate you, dog. And we're gonna
Appreciate
tap
you,
in
big
soon.
homie.
Yes, sir. Enjoy your night. Peace, love. Until next time.
Peace, brother.